Welcome to Mindfully Integrative Podcast with your host, Dr. Damaris G. Mindfully Integrative is a podcast discussing ways toward mindfully incorporating integrative health into our lives. This podcast will have informative resources, fun topics, interviews, and discussions relatable for today with a true mindful perspective in a mind-body, holistic life approach.
So what are you talking about when we discuss the balanced diet? So we discussed serving size, portions, but how do you get yourself to be able to measure so that you can manage the weight and it helps with reversal of the disease? So that has to do with balanced diet, portion control, limiting your sugar, added sugars to meals, tracking your food intake, physical activity, mindfulness, behavior changes, the team, a community approach, collaboration, and help from others. So first, like always, I will say, consult with a healthcare professional, make significant changes in your lifestyle with modifications and as needed, additional resources, discuss with a dietitian or nutritionist, try to come up with a personalized plan so that you have realistic, progressive goals and that you aim gradually, sustainability and consistency. Those are so key to getting your weight loss and just into feeling healthier and your better self. It's not just the weight, it's overall healthiness. So the goals can be 1 to 2 pounds a week. It could just literally be my cholesterol. It could be I feel better. I feel less bloated. I feel tired, less pain. There could be many reasons, and understanding what your goals are and doing it safely and effectively and consistently can be obtainable. So you can do this obviously with a balanced diet, as we were talking about, focusing on nutrient-dense foods, fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, whole grains, and whole fats. Now that is a variety of things for you, depending upon what your needs are. Gluten-free, anti-inflammatory, or whole foods is always the best bet. Now, again, we've discussed previous was portion control and how to be mindful of your sizes. You can do this by avoiding many aspects of overeating with smaller plates. Really be one to listen to your body. Take the hunger cues and fullness cues. In addition, I recommend when you're mindfully chewing and mindfully eating, think about 20 to 40 bites per food. Now that might be a lot, but try to get down between 10 to 20 if you could, because a lot of the breaking down of foods and prior enzymes are from the mouth all the way down to your stomach and into your intestines. So it's beneficial to you to have smaller meals and smaller bites. So when you're looking at foods and drinks, try to limit the added sugar. The average added sugar for consumed for the day should only be about 36 grams for men and around 26 grams to 28 grams for women. And then for kids, it should be about 16 grams. And would you believe there's so many added sugars per many meals and many things. So really look at that and take in consideration the serving size and the added sugar. That would help. And additionally, reduce the amount of processed foods that you have in your intake of daily foods. So that means minimize the intake of highly processed calorie-dense foods, fast food, sugary snacks, fried foods, excess overconsumption. Now, if that's available for you, maybe you want to track your food intake with a journal or a dietary needs for maybe symptoms or amount of how much you eat, or you can also just consider more whole food options. That would be more fibrous, more like broccolis, more apples, bananas, and things of the nature that will be more filling for you. In addition, of course, I would like you to consider some physical activity in your life. Now, that is going to range depending upon your age and your time and what is available, but some sort of aerobic activity is walking, jogging, cycling, swimming, wherever that is, and that's anywhere between 100 to 150 minutes a week of exercise. And that is where it lies for you. It doesn't mean it has to be vigorous, but modified as needed for your age, your disability, your needs, and, incorporate even a possibility of strength training or body composition training with light weights. And that's about 2 times a week to help boost the metabolism and help with not losing muscle mass and increasing, so the muscle mass will help lower some of that fat content, but also will help you be stronger so that when you're in your 80s, 70s, and 80s, you're able to stand up and lift and reach for things, and things are not as complex and hard for you. So flexibility and strengthening are just as important as cardiovascular activity. Then make sure you find those activities that work for you, that won't cause you injury, but is more enjoyable. And additional to that is finding mindful behavior techniques. So I've talked about mindful eating, finding ways to figure out what you would like to eat, choose meals that are enjoyable, eat slowly, savor each bite. It can prevent you from overeating. Try not to have the TV on, the phone, distractions when you're eating, so that at that time you're focusing on just your meal. Managing your stress is always going to be a positive factor and so important, because when you manage your stress, you're able to become less stress eating, overeating, or bloated and tired. So with that, you can use techniques of deep breathing, meditation, yoga. Stress can also lead to overeating. When you modify your sleep and you have good quality sleep, this ensures that it doesn't affect your hormones, and it helps so that it makes you feel more full, because when you have poor sleep, it does affect your hunger. And when you wake up, you actually find yourself more hungry or overeating that next day, which then in turn gives you higher calorie intake. So how can you maintain a balanced diet, maintain your weight, or just keep yourself at where you feel the most balanced and healthy? This is by getting some support and accountability. So how do you do that? You do that with a community or collaboration with a friend or family member, and maybe get onto a weight loss journey or walking or support group to help you get to be motivated and accountable. You can use medical interventions as needed, like that can be anything from medical weight loss, bariatric surgery, that could just be just having a nutritionist or a counselor, and those are okay. Those are allowed, and don't be worried. The main thing is trying to be as positive about where you are, love your body with what you're in, and be consistent, and know that it's okay. Patience, 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 and reversing obesity is a long-term process. It's not necessary that you're reversing it, but you're managing it. And when you understand the genetics and the overall, what you are the one that can initiate your health and do the most amazing things for it, but also know that you are the one that can make the setbacks. So yes, some of it is in your control and some of it is not, but you're like in the driver's seat. You're the one that will make those decisions, and you're going to make sure that you don't get full setbacks. So keep yourself accountable as much as possible, and give yourself regular checkups with your healthcare professional that you may be with, whether it's even just a nutritionist or a counselor. Try to get between 4 to 8 weeks of counseling or conversations with somebody so that it keeps you on track, or at least some team member or family member to get you where you need to go, because that's really helpful to get you in the goals of where you want to be. So if that's anything, look online, look at some groups, collaboration and team effort is always helpful, because you can't always do it alone. Sometimes you need a little assistance.
Thank you for listening to the Mindfully Integrative Show with Dr. Damaris Maria Grossman, family nurse practitioner. This podcast is for informational and educational purposes only, and is not to substitute for professional medical advice, diagnose, or treat. Always consult your healthcare provider before making changes to your healthcare routine. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. If you enjoyed our show, please support us by leaving a mindful review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite streaming platform. Interested in being a guest or more information? Email us at info@mindfullyintegrative.com. For resources mentioned in the show, visit our website at www.mindfullyintegrative.com. You can also connect mindfully with Dr. Damaris on her social media links found on the site. May your strength and peace guide you to find a mindful way every day. Namaste.